rabbit holes you can go down on these guitars is half of the fun and all of the madness that I think we both are infected with. I'm Mason Stoops. I am here at Guitar Center on Sunset Boulevard. I am joined by Allan Clarke, who oversees the entire vintage room here at Guitar Center Hollywood. Allan.
Good to see you.
Good to be back. If I was a person who wanted a guitar, how would we even begin that process in a room like this?
Well, generally, we'll welcome you in, just invite you to look around.
Right.
Take the whole room in, see if anything catches your eye. And then we just go from there. It's people being able to see things that they probably won't see other places. We're fortunate in this location to be a tourist attraction. We're the flagship guitar center for the entire company.
Right.
And so we have almost 1,000 people a day walk through our door. And whether they're coming in to look at our amazing vintage room or they're going to check out some of our experts in the pro audio department for whatever reason, they get to walk by icon instruments. Like we have Eric Clapton's Blackie Strat on display in the front of the store.
When you said that. I didn't realize that was here.
I asked Clapton if he wanted to play it at the Crossroads Festival in 2023, and he politely declined because I think he was afraid of anything happening to it. It's a special thing to walk by and see an icon instrument. If you're a guitar player, it's the Mona Lisa. We're really here just to help people try to find their dreams, fulfill their dreams, and see if they can, take home that dream and make it a reality for themselves.
So if I was one of those people, is there anything here that you feel like I should see? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of original Jazz Masters and Jaguars.
I got a beautiful 59 Jazz Master with a gold guard on it, an anodized guard. We got this killer 64 Strat that's just been played to death and back. And
it's crazy.
I look at that guitar and I think to myself, there's a lot of stories that have been told on that thing. We've got, 56 hardtail Strat, which the debate between hardtail and tremolo. Everybody thinks a Strat has to have a tremolo, but a hardtail might have a little bit more resonant frequency to it.
They do have a thing.
Even Eric Clapton with the Blackie Strat and all the guitars that they release from Fender today all have a tremolo, but it's blocked in place
from the back,
so they can get that hardtail sound in a guitar that still has the tremolo option should somebody want to pull the blocks out.
All those idiosyncrasies and the differences and the rabbit holes you can go down on these guitars is half of the fun and all of the madness that I think we both are infected with.
It speaks to the evolution of the guitar. Like you were saying, we have this situation where these geniuses designing these guitars early on really did get it right. And we've been chasing it for decades. They've gone through the evolution of active electronics and different neck profiles. And then people are still coming back and going, yeah, but I really just need a classic Strat, or I really just need a classic Les Paul, something that is what my heroes played.
Right.
And therein lies the beauty of you can get a $350,000 or so 59 Les Paul. You could get a $7,000 reissue Les Paul and feel the energy of those old guitars. Right over here, I have a 52 Les Paul Goldtop if you want to check that out.
Absolutely, I do.
Sweet. Look at that.
There's the bridge.
The infamous bridge that's about a mile off the top of the guitar.
Palm muting is not an option in 1952.
Sometimes a guitar player or a luthier will do something absolutely genius to make an old guitar even a little bit better than it was. And so there's one tiny modification that was done to this guitar, which some guitar collectors might balk at, but are they made to be looked at or played? I think they're made to be played. The bridge on an early Les Paul was a floating bridge. The trapeze tailpiece was not actually held onto the guitar. And the problem with that is if you're playing, you can palm mute down here. And if you push down accidentally, you could shift the bridge to the side.
Yeah, because this original trapeze, it was just string tension, right? Holding it down. So there's nothing that could have kept it from just sliding around.
Exactly. A person somewhere over the course of the last 7 decades came along and did a tiny modification where they essentially did something called pinning the bridge. Underneath this bridge post, somebody drilled a hole into the top of the guitar so that they could put an anchor in there. So this bridge is not going to slide. If you're playing it, you push downward on it, it's not going to push out of the way. That was something that was answered by Gibson when they came out with a wraparound tailpiece, replacing the trapeze bridge. But for the first 2 years, these guitars could go out of tune very, very easily unless somebody did something ingenious like this. So not only is this playable, but it's going to stay in tune. She's pretty straight, you know, beautiful gold top, nice little bit of checking and checkering down here. You can see the arm wear right here where somebody's forearm came across the guitar. The weight on the guitar is actually pretty special. You know, some people think that a classic Les Paul is a heavy guitar.
I know.
That's a story that came out from the 1970s, and the guitars that everybody idolized in the 1970s were from the 1950s. When you pick up a real 50s Les Paul and you realize that it's about the weight of a modern Stratocaster or a little bit less, your whole thought process has to shift. Want to feel it?
I do, actually. It's crazy you knew that. There's so much to take in on these early 52s. We're kind of looking at the blueprint for what was to come. I have a 52 Les Paul.
Yeah.
It doesn't look anything like this because the original owner went to absolute town on it. I love that stuff. I love a guitar that someone loved so much they weren't afraid to make it their own. So it's black. It's got a Bigsby on it. It's got this crazy kind of tortoiseshell pickguard, but it's beautiful. These weird old K knobs. It's nothing like this. Obviously the bridge, I think, wasn't it? I mean, originally it was designed to go over, but they couldn't get it low enough.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they would have had to put the neck angle in such a way that it wouldn't have made sense playability wise.
So you can't, your palm is up here, which is kind of comfy in terms of open playing, but as far as getting any kind of palm muting, it's just not going to happen. Some other early features like the no poker chip.
Nope.
I love that. Just like simple, clean. These early P90s, of course. The neck angle is something we should talk about too.
That's, in my opinion, probably the most critical part of a guitar being built, because this is the halfway point of the distance of the guitar string. It's a little closer to the bridge, but it's about the halfway point of the distance of the guitar string. It's a focal point in the resonation or vibration of the guitar string. And if you have a weak neck joint, the guitar tone's just going to die and diminish.
Everything that would be being sent, it's just
exactly
going away.
If the neck angle is too sharp, the bridge is too low, the body doesn't resonate enough. It's like that scene from Spinal Tap where he goes, you can just hear the sustain, and it's so actually true.
And this one hasn't had the neck reset. This is factory.
That is a straight neck.
So originally the neck from the factory was slightly too shallow.
In most instances, it would have been considered too shallow, but they also hadn't designed the bridge.
Yeah, there was still so much they were figuring out.
Again, we're looking at the genesis of the Les Paul, basically. In the years to come, 2 years later, they would eliminate the trapeze tailpiece and put a wraparound bridge on it. Then 2 years after that, they developed the tune-o-matic bridge and moved the tailpiece back so that the tune-o-matic is there so they could get better intonation. A couple of years after that, they add the maple top to the guitar. A year or so after that, they add the humbucking pickup to the guitar. You end up with this magical evolution, and you just get to see the development of the thought process of people who are taking feedback from musicians, listening to what they're saying, and then putting it into practice.
I mean, all of those stories and like how human they are. It's not, you know, this isn't just written in stone. Like we know this silhouette. We know what the Les Paul has done. We know the story. But when this came out in 1952.
Oh, it was alien.
No one had seen anything like this. This was so radical. It's so hard now looking back to go back in time and look at something like this and really appreciate how radical it was and how different it was and how much of a risk it was for Gibson to even try it. I mean, I think they were thinking this is a fad. Let's just go ahead and market this. We'll put a guy's name on it. Even they didn't know what was coming in terms of music and rock and roll. The things that we associate with this shape and with this sound and all of that didn't exist at the time. They were coming from the other end of the kaleidoscope, you know.
There is nobody like Les Paul in music history. He really did inform and create, along with Gibson, one of the, if not the most iconic electric guitars of all time.
Easily.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Let's give it a play.
So now I'm here and I've got the 52 Les Paul that is all original in every way that my 52 Les Paul is not. We have these original P90s. I've swapped out the magnets in mine. Everything here is almost exactly, I mean, it's got to be the closest it would be as if you'd gotten it right from the factory. I'm plugged into a very cool little vibro champ that I very much want to keep. Let's start with the neck pickup, because that's got to be home base on an electric guitar, right? That's sick. it truly is hard to contextualize every detail in terms of this being a first year Les Paul. But I gotta say, like the neck is immediately comfortable. You know, a lot of those early guitars, when you play them, you assume it's gonna have some super massive, uncomfortable baseball bat neck. But this feels fantastic. I mean, if I had a new guitar that felt like this, I'd be stoked. And I gotta say too, this bridge is not as nearly as crazy feeling as I thought it was gonna be. I wasn't even really thinking about it. It works with this neck angle. Like, there's so many things happening right now that are surprisingly fantastic. It's a really good guitar. All right, here we go. Bridge pickup. That does sound amazing. Is it a little lower output than the neck pickup? It might sound like it. I don't know if you can see it there, but the bridge pickup being where it was set basically from the factory. It's not as close to the strings as it could be. It could also maybe be slightly lower output. Back then, they weren't really thinking about making sure these outputs were matched. They barely got through the front door of what was going to become the electric guitar history and technology and that trajectory. You might have to do a little bit of balancing. If I was going to go to the middle position, I might lower the neck volume to match where the bridge volume is at. Even with where it's at and being kind of lower output, it still sounds so good. Definitely some volume discrepancies in terms of output between the neck and bridge, but that's okay. On my 52 Les Paul, you can slide the magnets out of a P90 very easily and slide in different magnets. We spent some time finding ones that I thought sounded the best together and also helped get that bridge pickup to its, best sounding state. I've also got that bridge pickup cranked pretty high and close to the strings. And that certainly helps get more output too. All of that was more so course correcting than personality shifting. So vibe wise, it is very similar to what I'm hearing here. Even though that guitar is so drastically far from home of its original factory state, the heart of it is very much alive in this guitar. Let's do the middle position and I'll go ahead and maybe balance out kind of output wise, maybe where the neck and bridge pickup get along volume-wise the best. So I'm going to turn my volumes all the way up. Here's my neck pickup, just a nice, easy chord. And then I'll switch to the bridge. You'll hear that it's quieter. Not too far off, but, noticeable. So if I go to the middle, I'll go ahead and balance them out. We'll get that optimal neck bridge balance. And just plug straight into an amp. I mean, come on. Even in a little amp, you hear what's special about a guitar like this and why someone would want to take a guitar like this and plug it into a big Marshall stack. Because everything that's coming out of here is just so exciting and musical. And I would be very curious to hear it into some massive stack someday. The thing that I love about vintage guitars, really rare ones, really affordable ones. In general, what you get that you don't get from a new guitar, that you wouldn't get from a guitar that was hanging on the wall right from the factory is the story that came with it. And even though we maybe don't know those players and we don't get to know everything that happened to it, when you see the wear and you feel the neck and you experience what this guitar has gone through and its 60, 70, sometimes more plus years of life and being played, you're now a part of that guitar story. None of us get to keep them forever. They will live on and be played by even more people. When you buy a vintage guitar, you become kind of part of this never-ending link of people who loved it, who experienced it, who took it to a gig and dropped it, and now it's got that ding on it that the next owner's not going to know but wonder about. And you get to be part of the story, and that's something that's special when you pick up an old guitar and you pick up something like this 52 Les Paul. If you you want to get into vintage guitars, you should definitely come to the Vintage Showroom here at the Sunset Hollywood location. You got to come meet my guy Allan and hang with him. Check him out for yourself. Pick up a guitar off the wall that you maybe wouldn't have played before and see what you pick up on, see what stories start speaking to you.
And I've only played it for maybe a grand total of about 45 seconds. But I've got a picture. That's the important thing in this day and age.
Yeah.
I got a picture.